Welcome to Phoenix Refueled, paving the way for the matriarchy one body at a time. I'm Lindsay Evans.
I'm Ashley Nix.
And this week we're talking about...
Motherhood.
Motherhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, mama.
Ooh, mama.
Yeah.
So I had reached out to you because of the Lindsay Clancy trial that is happening right now. And I had not heard of her or the case or any of the things that were going on until this past week. And immediately, like so many women, have become just enraptured with what the heck is happening.
Yeah. It's a really heartbreaking story.
It is incredibly heartbreaking. So should we give a recap first?
If people aren't familiar.
Yeah. So in 2023, it is assumed or Lindsay Clancy is being charged of murdering her 3 children, and then in that same evening attempting to kill herself and honestly killing herself. She did die, I think at least twice, and had to be revived. And so as the trial is unfolding, what they're doing is looking for like a reasonable doubt, right? So she has actually pled not guilty. And so they're looking for, like, is there a reasonable doubt in the case? And as things are unfolding, I found myself in a grieving with her and understanding her experience. And I think that's why it's resonating with so many women at this point.
Because of the postpartum aspect of it. Yeah.
Because of the postpartum aspect of it. So she was on, multiple different medications. I think the total was somewhere around 13. I think you did some more research on that. I don't know if it was all at once. I think there were some.
But it was in a pretty short window that they were all prescribed to her. And it's benzos, sleep aids. I think Seroquel maybe was one of them, which is an antipsychotic. I mean, it was a pretty intense load of medications to try and get her stabilized.
Regulated.
Yeah.
And I will say there are, even if you are not in psychosis, there are certain medications, like myself, just as we've talked about my own journey, right? And that I had hit what they called the Prozac wall, that I had been on Zoloft for an extended period of time due to complex trauma, right? So it was like PTSD, but like complex. So, and it was like abuse and childhood and all of these things compounding, and I hit a wall with my Zoloft. I was at a max dose and it was not functioning the way that they needed it to, and so they gave me like a booster, but what I did not know at the time, it was Abilify, it was an antipsychotic. I'm not sure what I would have done had I known that. If I would have chosen to take it or not, but at the point that we were at, I was like, I'm taking my medication and doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not well.
Right.
And I'm worried.
Which sounds like what happened to her. She was on the medications. They didn't seem to be
doing what they're supposed to be doing.
What they had wanted them to do. She still felt very unsupported and unstable and overwhelmed. I mean, just by her own admission in her diary writings, which they've now released, it sounded like she very much felt the weight of
all of motherhood,
failing as a mother. Yeah.
And like when you said about the cocktail, I mean, I was on a sleep aid. I was on my Zoloft, which is my SSRI. I was on Abilify, which is an antipsychotic, which makes you gain weight like crazy, by the way. And I was also on benzos. I was also on Xanax, all at the same time. And A still functioning, but
crazy,
utterly traumatized. And it was truly, I was propped up by medication. But that was just, they were keeping me functioning in my day to day.
Well, that's why this case is so interesting, because I feel like that is kind of the approach we have now culturally, because we don't have the family support, the community support for motherhood. We don't get automatic maternity leave like a lot of first world nations get. I mean, we don't have the external support for women, so it is kind of internalized, like, oh, I've got to be this and do this, and I got to breastfeed, or I'm a bad mama, and I got to do all natural diapers, or I got to do a natural birth, or I got to this and that.
Make
It's
my
all
own baby food.
Yes, it's all on the mother herself. You know, you're lucky if you have a supportive family who's helping you, or like a great husband or partner or wife who's supporting you, but not everyone has that.
Right.
And as things are more isolated and people have less and less support, mothers aren't any different in that. And then, so yeah, what do we turn to? Propping people up on medications when really, I mean, I know we both experienced this with postpartum, and it sounds like, I'm not saying this woman is innocent or guilty, but I'm saying I can understand feeling like I don't know what to do, I'm overwhelmed, and this isn't working. You know what I mean? The medications aren't working. I don't know what else to do. That's why it's so sad to me, and I think that's why we're getting the huge response that I'm seeing in the comment sections and a lot of the video comment sections, the newspaper articles, whatever, of women being like, yeah, so much is expected of us as mothers, and we don't have any support. Like, could a lot of this just be solved by having time to rest? She said that in her diaries. If it would be better if I just had time to nap every day. That's real support, and that doesn't cost anything. It's having somebody who will show up and say, give me the baby, you go take a shower, or you go lay down, or that's support.
That's support.
Knowing that you're not going to lose your job because you want to nurse your baby for a few weeks.
Right.
That's support.
That's support.
Yeah.
There's so much of like women's health that we haven't done the research, right? We don't know. So things that like I'm teaching my daughter that I learned in my late 30s, just about that we have different phases of our cycle. That wasn't stuff that was taught to us, much less like it was taught, oh, you should be a mom, you should breastfeed, breastfeeding is best, but we're not talking about within 24 to 72 hours, your estrogen drops by 90%. And then even beyond that, we're just now starting to really have conversations about how estrogen is a whole body, like a whole body hormone, right? We're not just talking about birth and the uterus. We're talking about ligaments and like your joints and brain fog and mood and the way that it affects dopamine and serotonin in our brain. And you have a steep drop 24 to 72 hours after childbirth. And then what I was reading is like if you're breastfeeding, it's like that doesn't return to normal because your body is suppressing estrogen to support milk production. And so when I learned that instead of being put on Zoloft post childbirth, that I should have been put on estrogen instead, the rage that I felt, I'm like, we're just experimenting with women's bodies, and then calling them crazy when they're like, hey, something's not right, but still expecting them to bear all of the burden of motherhood, typically alone, and then shaming them and saying, well, you're not doing it right.
Yeah. And it is very isolating too. You are at your most animal self when you've just had a baby because you're leaking and you're sweaty and you're sleep deprived and partially incontinent sometimes. I mean, you're just a mess. You just feel like an animal. That is crazy to me, but I'm not surprised that the limited funding that we do have for women's health, a lot of it goes to the time of life surrounding pregnancy, and even still, that's so limited in compared to what we research in other areas of human life. Women have been so far left out of the conversation as far as medication testing and, testing crash dummies and road tests. I mean, women have just not been included in any of that. And then with estrogen, I know there was that big scare for the last 20 years, which is why now with the menopausal research, they're just starting to get back to like, oh yeah, estrogen is safe. They're using something different now. It is okay. It doesn't wildly increase your chances of cervical cancer or whatever. But there was that big taboo around estrogen for a while, so I'm not surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if even people who are getting medical training didn't have access to that information.
Well, you were the one that was telling me the doctor of the
woman who wrote the new menopause book, Dr. Marie Claire Havard, I think is her name. Yeah, she was saying, this book is about menopause, but she was saying in her hormonal research with that, how little that she was even taught about it in med school. Like it was just a blip. And how she was kind of hearing random symptoms from women and wasn't necessarily connecting it until it started happening to her and her friends, and they were going through menopause at the same time, and she was like, oh my God,
it's all
that's why that random joint pain, that's what this thing is, that's why this woman who's my age, her knees all of a sudden are hurting. It's all connected.
So as I'm watching this trial unfold, and I think like what's resonating with women just in general is the overall lack of support, yet expectation of perfection.
Juggling everything, balancing everything.
And it's like, I don't know that there is a way that you can do it right.
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. And I know in the very beginning stages of babyhood, there's just so much demand on the mother. And not to say that there's not demand on the partner, if there is a partner, but the mom is the one breastfeeding. I mean, there is just a lot more demanded of the mother physically, even if both parents are there and they're showing up. The dad didn't have to grow an entirely new organ to feed and care for the baby. The mom did. The dad's body didn't have to stretch to allow for larger breasts for milk production to feed the baby. The mom's did. The dad's hips didn't have to widen to allow passage for the birth of the baby. The mom's did. I mean, there's just so much of your physical body as a mother that's demanded from you that you're no longer an autonomous being.
No, your organs literally are shoved up into the side and around to make space for.
Yes. Everything in your body is rearranged to accommodate and care for that baby. So in the first month or two, I mean, you're just exhausted. The idea that, oh, I'm going to bounce back and have my pre-baby body and I'm going to be going out to dinners. Maybe some people can do that, but not everybody can do that. Not everybody should be expected to do that. The idea that that's the standard is ridiculous.
That's always shocking to me. It's always shocking to me, that whole like bounce back and immediately. And it's like there are women that do have that experience, but each pregnancy is also different. Yep. Like if you have more than one, and each baby is different as well. And so I'm like, it doesn't, just because you had that one, or say you have births like that and that's just your circumstances, great, that's great for you, but that is not the case for most women. I mean, I told you before we got on film that I had I was in an abusive marriage that I'd almost left him right before I got pregnant. And then there was like hope of things getting better, which is just like textbook story of how things go. And so I stayed, and then it was a traumatic birth. They almost lost both of us in the process. Found out later that they were considering breaking her clavicle to get her shoulder to move because she was stuck. And they were beginning to move me for an emergency C-section after I had been pushing for 3 hours and 16 minutes, by the way. And then she had her first bowel movement actually in the birth canal. So they had what I guess I've seen since then, they call it a shoulder or something, but the nurse got up on the bed with me and like full body contact found, her butt, and like we pushed together and like popped her out.
Wow.
Anyway, Nikki was already there, but it was in a birth like that, your body is in shock in a lot of ways. And so like my milk didn't come in the way that I needed it to come in, and the way I expected, because I thought that was just like a natural thing to have happen. But for some women it doesn't happen that way. But at about 3 weeks old or so, I was not well, and my child was crying, and I laid her on the bed and yelled at her. And I was like, what do you want from me? And I'm at home by myself with no support, screaming at this infant whom I love. I throw myself in front of a bus for her. But I was so isolated without support. And thank God I called my grandmother, and I was like, at what point is it no longer baby blues? Yeah. And she's like, if it's been more than 3 days, you need to go to the doctor. I immediately called the doctor and like got support, but it's so isolating. It's like
very isolating.
No wonder we have women in this. No wonder we have women that are struggling. And like, I think about the women that don't have access. To help. At all.
When I had my son, my mother said, "Okay, we're gonna move." My parents moved across the country to come be near us, and thank God, because I was at home. My partner was working. I was alone with the baby. I had a terrible birthing experience. Had to be in surgery for hours after the fact. Did have postpartum depression. Had my mom not been there to watch and care for the baby while I was in the bathroom for hours, like I wouldn't have been able to. It was exhausting and overwhelming as it was. And then you think of people who, for whatever reason, have pressure to have multiple children, have them quickly, whatever, and you have postpartum, and then with each additional child, it usually gets worse. And if you're having the problem of lack of support, obviously it's going to get worse because you're just increasing your workload. I mean, I can't imagine. I think that's why the Lindsay Clancy thing is so upsetting and so visceral and real for so many women. It's because, like, I've been there. I've been a new mother, and had it been so dark and scary, and loved my child so fiercely, but also been like, I don't know, maybe I made a mistake. I don't know if I can do this. I mean, that story is just so heartbreaking for that reason, that there's no winning. No. Like, whether or not she did that, she has to live with that for the rest of her life. That's horrific, this experience, for everybody. Yeah, I don't think she did it. That's just based on what I've heard. But there's plenty of reasonable doubt. There's some very questionable things, I would say, too. Having, again, coming from the experience of having been in abusive relationships and not been supported. I think we've both read some things that were like, strange. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck. I can't say, Might be a duck. But it definitely does resonate, I think, with a lot of women who are feeling the societal lack of support. As we keep talking about the patriarchal family systems, it's really interesting to me, because I think the whole narrative is, man head of the household, and then the woman serves, and then the children, and the man takes care. But patriarchal family systems are very anti-family. They're anti-family, because you can't have a whole society which doesn't respect women, devalues women, and then in turn devalues, sexualizes, objectifies even children, and then say that, the men are going to protect the women and the children. Not in a society that's structured like that. Patriarchy is not even protecting the men, let alone the women and children.
Correct.
That is anti-family. Yeah, I think women are just feeling fed up.
I was like, I think it's a fed up. It's we're seeing this rise in the whole trad wife, the whole all of that manosphere, those kinds of things, and it's like the reality is. In those worlds, as women, you are a commodity. To be bought, sold, traded, used, disposed of, right? Yes. As opposed to being a sentient being of your own with thoughts, feelings, right?
Well, there's just a demand for a certain amount of uniformity. You can't be your own individual with needs and desires. That's different from case to case because there's so much expectation. And then there's so much judgment when you go out of these imaginary lines.
Right.
Like, there really is punishment for that, for going out of those lines.
Oh, no, trust me. Well, you and I both know that.
We know. Yeah. That's just, it's not good for anybody, And I get frustrated with that too because talking about the whole, anything feminist, people get their hackles up as if you speaking to any of these things means that you hate men. I don't hate men. Patriarchy is bad for men too. I also want men to be healthy. I have a son. It's not good for them either. It's not good for anybody. I mean, you can't have such a large disparity between women and men is 50% of the population.
Right.
We have to be able to value and respect both sexes.
Right.
And have a place for them in society where they are equally honored. And until we get there, it's just not going to work for anybody.
No.
You have the trad wife stuff. You have people now not knowing how to date each other. We were joking about the bear, the woman versus bear numbers, and it's like, what are your odds of being attacked by a bear?
Very, very low.
For women to be attacked by a man in their lifetime, it's like 1 in 3, or some cases they say 1 in 2.
I would say probably closer to 1 in 2 because there's
I'm thinking with underreporting, it's probably closer to 1 in 2. That's a big number.
Major.
Everybody's afraid of bears. Everybody's afraid of going into the woods and seeing a jaguar, a lion, going into the ocean and seeing a shark. Those are not real threats. The chances of being attacked 1 in 3
by
1 in 2, that's a real threat. And we bring it up and we talk about it, and it's like, no, we can't talk about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then you hate men.
You hate men.
Right.
And when you pick the bear, that's crazy.
Right. Okay.
1 in 3?
Mhm.
That's insane. Yeah. So the motherhood debate just goes over to how women are treated at large
just
in society.
Yeah.
There is a certain narrow window of what you're expected to be and what you need to do to prove your goodness. And there's so much judgment around it. The labor that mothers do that goes unwitnessed, unrecognized sometimes.
Unknown. People don't understand, some people do, but the mental and emotional load that goes into, and then like you and I had talked about, like just perpetually beating ourselves up of like, how am I failing my child? Am I doing a good job? Am I teaching them this? Well, if I co-sleep with them, then I'm that's bad. But then they're crying themselves to sleep, and I don't like that either. But like, which one's best? And like, breast only, but my milk didn't come in, and so I really can't breastfeed. But now I'm a horrible mother because I can't fucking breastfeed, and so I'm failing at that. So I'm failing at motherhood. Or my kid fell because I wasn't exactly where I needed to be when I needed to be it. And we beat mothers up. And we beat ourselves up for not being perfect.
There's so much pressure. Oh, I know. That's why I did the natural birthing route when I had my son, because it was like, oh, I'm gonna do it all natural. I'm not gonna take any drugs. I'm gonna do the midwife thing. That was not a good experience for me. It's a great experience for some people.
Right.
But I had it in my mind, oh yeah, the hospitals are just trying to get you into surgery and they don't give you the autonomy. And there may be some veracity to that, but my midwife experience was not good. My birth was not good. And I had to be rushed to the hospital for surgery after my natural childbirth. They didn't think, the surgeon who worked on me was an amazing surgeon and said, there is a possibility that you will have to wear a bag, like a colostomy bag, for the rest of your life because of the damage that was done in that birthing process. Thank God I had a skilled surgeon who knew what she was doing.
Damn.
Because that did not happen. But had I not gone to the hospital, and there was so much guilt with me to have this natural birth and have my birth plan. I'm not gonna get any medication. That when I got to the hospital after having the most severe tear you could have in a birth, and them inspecting me and feeling like I was going to die on the spot the second they touched me to just see what was going on, I was still with the midwife who came with me. She's saying, no, don't let them give you an epidural. You've made it this far without any drugs. Don't take the drugs. And I'm like on another planet. I'm going, yeah, okay, no. Thinking, yeah, I'm going to be a good mom. I'm going to be a good natural mom. I'm not going to do that. And when the nurses took me in, one of the older nurses grabbed me and she said, are you in pain? And I said, yeah. She said, take the medication.
Yeah.
Take the medication. You're not going to be able to get through this surgery if you don't take it. It's fine. You're a good mom. You're not hurting your baby. Take the medication. And I'm so thankful for that nurse.
Let me tell you, nurses, my God.
Yeah.
Dude.
She was a hero.
That's the kind of stuff that, like, I had to have more than one mom tell me that I was not failing my child because I wasn't producing enough milk to feed her.
Oh, it does feel like a personal failure.
I was like, I can't do this basic level thing.
Yeah.
And so how am I supposed to be her mother? I'm failing at this. I can't even feed her. What do you mean? I'm not going to be able to do this at all. And it's like, logically, clearly, that doesn't make any sense, right? But that's the propaganda that we're sold, and it's a way that I feel like we turn on each other as mothers or as women.
Yeah.
And like, oh, if you only do it this way. I too was doing the midwife route and got to 42 weeks, and my mother was the one that was like, at what point do we go to the hospital? And the midwife was like, tomorrow, because if you go further than this, then like that's when they start getting really pissed. And honest to God, thank God, she was a 9-pound baby, or just about a 9-pound baby. And one of the nurses was like, you have your babies in hospitals. Yeah. Like, you have big babies, you come to the hospital. But I basically fired the midwife, like, as we were going into the hospital at that point, because I was like, but like, thank God for that nurse. And I know the propaganda that you're talking about, because that's what I was doing too.
Which is not to say that there are good natural births and there are midwives who do great jobs. It's good to have the options, but I feel like the way we discuss pregnancy is sort of the opposite to the way we discuss menopause. Like, menopause, we just don't talk about at all. So nobody knows. So there's this whole life phase that all women will have that nobody knows anything about. And then we do talk about pregnancy and we do talk about childbearing, but it's in such a golden light that we don't talk about all of the things that could go wrong, about the fact that women do die from childbirth all the time.
Especially if you're a woman of color, but especially if you were a black woman.
Yes. We have some of the worst rates for maternal mortality in the industrialized world. We don't ever talk about those things, about the very real dangers that women are in when they're pregnant. And I think that we should, because when we don't talk about those aspects, you do sort of take it on as a personal failure. It's like, well, everybody breastfeeds. We talk about how great it is, and it is. But then if your baby doesn't latch, or your body, for whatever reason, doesn't produce enough milk, it's like, well, everybody can do this but me. What's wrong with me?
Or the reality of, because of my job, I'm in contact with women of all ages, but some of my younger clientele, I had one flat out ask me, is motherhood worth it? Wow. And I thought long and hard about that, because what do I say to her?
There's not really a neat answer.
Because what would you say?
For me, yes, it is. But that's a personal decision that everybody has to weigh. For me, yes, it's an amazing part of my life is being a mother, but so much is demanded of you.
Yes.
You really become a new self
yes.
when you enter into motherhood. You agree for the next, until you're dead, I guess.
That's like forever.
That your life is no longer about you only.
Correct.
It's not really about you in the same way that it only was ever about you prior to having children. Now it's forever changed.
I told her that I would not change the experiences that I have had because of my daughter.
Yeah.
And that she has made me someone that I don't think any other experience or contact or relationship could have grown me in the way that she has grown me. And not that it's her responsibility, it's just that you the way that you have to step up.
Yeah. It changes.
It changes you. And the way that you confront things from your own childhood, from your own raising, it's like you have a choice to confront and heal that, and do different, and make a choice to do different, or take the good things and do that as well. But I did say, be aware of the partner that you do that with.
Yeah.
If you are doing that, choose so carefully. Because you and I have discussed, I feel like in so many ways I was robbed of the motherhood that I could have had, especially in the beginning. Now I'm fine. I think that, but it's, she can feed herself and clothe herself, although I cook. But there are things she's independent. We can do, she does a lot on her own for herself. But especially early years, had I had the support,
it would have been.
It would have been such a different experience.
It would have been, yeah. And a lot of women have that experience.
Yes.
You don't know sometimes until you do have the family, and it's like, oh, I see why this is the joke that you're just an extra child, and that I am now the mom to the partner and the child.
What are people calling it? She's a married single mom.
That's what it felt like to me.
That's what it was to me too.
I say I've always been a single mom because
same.
I was. There was somebody hanging around for a while, but I have been a single mom since the birth.
Okay, have you ever taken, have you ever?
Yes.
Right?
What's the name of their doctor?
Right.
Were you changing diapers? Were you doing the bedtime routine? Were you doing the bath time routine? That, even people, I've joked about with friends that I have who do have good partners, and it's like, oh, must be nice that you can just get ready and jump out the door in 5 minutes, and I'm over here 40 minutes before we leave packing the diaper bag. Do we have enough food? Do we have the binky so that there's not a crash out? Do we have checking off all of these things for everybody else before I even get to put my coat on?
Mm-hmm.
let alone get myself ready to go.
Right.
That's, yep, there's that imbalance in what's expected of the mom and what's expected
Of anybody
of
else.
anybody else.
But it's like that's the expectation without the support and without the respect and reverence for that role.
Yeah.
So we are expecting women to be mothers and to do all of these things and to be perfect at it, yet we're constantly shaming and beating them down and not giving them the support that they need to do this sacred job.
Yes. Truly sacred job. Yes, bringing humanity into the world. Everyone's come through the body of a woman, every single person on earth. That's crazy. I mean, both men and women have valuable and important roles, but I really feel like mothers are so dismissed and so unsupported. We were talking, I had read something that, you know, in like the 18th century or whatever, the leading cause for women dying, pregnant women, was rates of infection. And it's because they didn't understand bacteria, they didn't understand washing their hands. So you had doctors, you know, like dissecting and taking body parts out of a corpse and then going on to deliver a baby, and then there's transference, and then there's infection. And then when they realized the midwives are actually, they have much lower rates of maternal mortality. What are they doing? Oh, they're not working in these other conditions. And then they realized, oh, if we're washing our hands in between, okay, then we lose that. But I was so shocked by the idea that we could have ever been so barbaric that you wouldn't have been washing your hands doing these two things.
Right.
Reaching up a woman's birth canal after you've just
Inside
been
my
playing
body.
inside somebody's dead body. I'm like, that's
Ugh.
insane. That's insane.
Ugh.
Now, a few days earlier, I had read that today, currently in the United States, the two dominant reasons, the two number one reasons for women dying in pregnancy is overdose and homicide. That's today in our country. Pregnant women die because of deaths of despair, overdosing, and intimate partner violence. And that did not shock me. I wasn't like, oh my God, can you believe this is happening? I just, yeah, that's
That makes
not
sense.
really surprising, because women are so vulnerable when they're pregnant. And if you're in an abusive relationship, that's usually when it ramps up.
I would just say it gets worse.
That deeply disturbs me that I wasn't even shocked by that. It deeply disturbs me because that's so much worse than just not having the science of hand washing, which changed once they learned that. We just don't value
Women.
and care for women. And in this day and age, pregnant women are more likely to die from murder than infection. That's horrific. I mean, that's not a lack of education. That's not a lack of science. We just don't care for women.
No, it's by design. It's by, again, you're a commodity. You know, to be consumed and to be used and then to be thrown away.
Oh,
It's okay, Oliver. You're okay, baby. Oh, he's all scared.
I jumped up. Oh no,
Oh,
sorry,
come
baby.
Here. He's all scruffy. Come here. Okay.
He's gone.
He's all scruffy
He's
and
gone.
scared. He's like, oh my God, there's a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. As I was like watching some of the trial footage, I resonated so much with some of her entries of wanting to be a good mother and wanting to do better and like and vocalizing the struggle and vocalizing the like, I think I'm doing the right thing. The doctors are telling me I'm doing the right thing, and I hope I'm doing the right thing. I want to be a better mom for my children. I want to be happy, but I want it to be real happy and not like medicated happy, not numbed out happy. Like she's wanting to be.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
She's wanting to be present, enjoy with those babies.
Show up for her children.
Right. In a fully present, full contact way.
Mm-hmm.
And the system just failed her.
Yeah, she just was failed on every level.
It is so common, and that's what's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's like, it has to change.
It has to, because that's a real person. That's the real lives. 3 babies lost.
3 babies.
So many more lives ruined. Yeah, we can't continue to keep the status quo.
No.
It's real lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the more women openly discuss their experiences, and the more that we are real and raw about motherhood, that's where the change is going to happen. But we have to be honest.
Yeah.
And real about it. Can't live in the shadows anymore.
Yeah.
It can't be everybody gets the baby blues, like it's okay. It's like, no, we need to have conversations about, here's what helped me, here are resources, how can I help you? We have to work together. The patriarchy is not going to save us. It's not going to protect us. So we as women, and that's kind of what's happening around this case, is women are like, we know, we lived it and we were quiet about it. So it's time to share your stories and to come together and to help out mothers that are currently struggling, women that are younger, that will become mothers. And honest to goodness, the number of times I've said to you and to so many people, my God, the pain and grief I feel for my mother and for my grandmothers and for generations previous that just had to swallow that. And that's how it was. The conditioning that they've had to endure and internalize is heartbreaking. And I'll be damned if my daughter is doing that. And if I can help it, anybody else. But we got to start talking about it. Real and raw.
Agree. Yep.
Yep.
Women showing up for each other, demanding things to change.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
This is all part of it, right? A little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Just to end it on a positive note, just look out for each other. Girls helping girls. Be a Girl Scout.
Be a Girl Scout.
And if you have a friend who's having a baby, show up, bring her food, take that baby, check in, make sure mom can pee at 5 minutes alone.
Take a shower would be nice. Take a shower would be great.
Yes, we don't have to just go the medication route. I think the best, most effective tools are just truly showing up. Giving your time and your effort and your attention. It doesn't cost a dime.
Nope. It really, really doesn't. Truly, the just showing up. My God, I would have cried.
Yep.
To have someone just
show up.
Show up, and so I could take a shower.
Yeah.
Or take a nap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Show up for each other, y'all.
Show up.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Love y'all.
Love y'all. Mr. Oliver, he's a good boy.